1946. A back porch in the dreamy neighborhood of New Orleans. A woman is rubbing cocoa butter between her palms while the bathwater cools inside. The block cost her $1.25 at the pharmacy on Claiborne Avenue. It will last her 3 months. Her skin will glow through every one of them. No serum, no subscription, and no routine with 11 steps and a credit card attached. Just 1 block and 2 hands that already knew what the beauty industry would spend decades pretending to discover. Number 20. Rosewater and glycerin facial mist. Women mixed rosewater and glycerin in small glass bottles and used them as a daily facial toner. 2 ingredients, nothing else. A 4-ounce glass bottle from the 5 and dime, rosewater at 15 cents, and glycerin at a dime. Mix 2 parts rosewater to 1 part glycerin, shaken until the liquid turned slightly cloudy, dabbed onto a cotton ball or just patted into the face with open palms after washing. The faint rose smell that lingered on the pillowcase, the skin that stayed soft through a Chicago winter without a single crack at the jawline. Nobody called it a toner. Nobody called it a hydrating mist. It was just what you put on your face before bed. The skincare industry now sells rosewater glycerin sprays in frosted bottles for $18 to $30. The recipe has not changed. The price has. Number 19. Sulfur and lard ointment for blemishes. Women mixed flowers of sulfur powder with Vaseline or rendered lard and applied it directly to blemishes and dark spots. A nightly spot treatment that cost almost nothing. A small envelope of flowers of sulfur from the drugstore, a nickel, mixed with a thumbnail of Vaseline on the back of a saucer. The paste was bright yellow and smelled like a struck match. Dabbed onto a blemish with the ring finger before bed. By morning, the spot was flatter. By the 3rd night, the skin around it was clearing, the sulfur smell fading into the cotton of the pillowcase. Prescription acne treatments now cost $40 to $80 a tube. Their active ingredient is often a sulfur compound. A woman in 1942 was mixing the same compound on a saucer for less than a dime. She did not call it dermatology. She called it Tuesday night. Number 18. Sweet almond oil for stretch marks and scars. Women rubbed sweet almond oil into stretch marks, scars, and dry patches on the belly, hips, and thighs, especially during and after pregnancy. A small glass bottle from the pharmacy shelf, 20 cents for 2 ounces, poured into the palm, warmed between both hands, rubbed in long, slow strokes across the belly in the 5th, 6th, and 7th month. The faint nutty smell mixing with the warmth of the bath steam. Skin that stayed supple through a full pregnancy without a single expensive cream. Bio oil now sells for $14 an ounce and markets itself as a stretch mark revolution. Sweet almond oil is still $3 a bottle at the drugstore. The revolution happened 80 years ago in a bathroom with the door closed. Number 17. Burnt cork and matchstick soot for eyebrows and liner. Women burned the tip of a wooden match or a piece of cork, let the soot cool, and used it to line their brows and lash lines. A kitchen match was struck and blown out. The blackened tip cooled for 10 seconds, then was tested on the back of the wrist. It was then drawn in short, feathered strokes along the brow bone, or they held a wine cork over the stove flame until the end turned to soot. The charcoal was rubbed between the fingertips and pressed along the lash line. Soft, smudgeable, dark as ink. No flaking, no pulling, just carbon and a steady hand. A box of kitchen matches cost 3 cents and held 240 sticks. 1 match gave a full face of brows and liner. Prestige eyebrow pencils now sell for $22 to $30 each. The ingredient is still carbon pigment. The delivery system just got more expensive. Number 16. Egg white mask for pore tightening. Women separated egg whites, whipped them lightly, and spread them across the face as a pore-tightening mask. One egg cracked on the side of a bowl. The white separated from the yolk with a careful back and forth between the two shell halves. Beaten twice with a fork, spread thin across the forehead, cheeks, and chin. The slow drying pull as it tightened. That unmistakable stiffness when the face could barely move. 15 minutes, rinsed with cool water. The skin underneath smooth and taut, pores nearly invisible for the rest of the day. Pore-minimizing serums are now a $4 billion global market. The egg was already in the icebox. It cost 4 cents. Nobody patented it because nobody needed to. It belonged to everyone. 5 items in, and not a single one required a store that did not already exist on the corner. But what comes next was not sold in any store at all. Number 15. Homemade cold cream from lard and beeswax. During wartime rationing, when commercial creams were scarce or gone entirely, women made their own cold cream from rendered lard, beeswax, and rosewater. A tablespoon of clean white lard. A thumbnail of beeswax shaved from a block with a paring knife, melted together in a small saucepan over the lowest flame. A splash of rosewater stirred in as the mixture cooled, poured into a clean jelly jar, the cream set thick and white by morning, scooped with 2 fingers and massaged in the same slow circles as Pond's. It worked the same because it was the same. Pond's cold cream is oil, wax, and water. These women made it from memory when the store shelf went bare. Wartime rationing took fats, oils, and metals off the civilian shelves. The government said sacrifice. These women said fine and made what they needed from what was left. That was not sacrifice. That was sovereignty. Number 14. Red lipstick as the one indulgence. Even in the strictest household budget, 1 tube of red lipstick survived the cut. It was not vanity. It was armor. A Tangy or Maybelline lipstick in a slim gold-tone metal tube. 39 cents at the 5 and dime. Natural red, not orange, not pink, blotted on a folded square of toilet tissue. Applied in the hallway mirror before walking out the front door. Reapplied after lunch from a compact kept in the handbag. The faint, waxy, sweet smell when the cap came off. The click of the tube closing. The way it changed the entire face with one stroke. A woman working 10 hours in a laundry or a kitchen could not control what was said to her. Could not control what was paid to her. But she could control how she looked walking through that door. Red lipstick was not decoration. It was the one piece of the day that belonged entirely to her. 14 items left, and something should already be clear. None of this required permission. No prescription, no appointment, no consultation fee, no cosmetology license, no brand ambassador telling them what was trending this season. These women operated an entire beauty economy outside the one that refused to see them. The mainstream industry did not serve black women in the 1940s. So black women built their own system from scratch, and their system worked better because it had to. Number 13. Sugar water setting, lotion for pin curls. Women dissolved white sugar in warm water and used it as setting lotion for pin curls, finger waves, and roller sets. 2 tablespoons of white sugar stirred into half a cup of warm water until clear. Dipped through the fingers, raked through a damp hair section by section. The faint stickiness that meant the curl would hold. Each section wound around 2 fingers, coiled flat, and pinned with a DeLong bobby pin. 10 cents a card. The whole headset in 15 minutes if you were practiced. By morning, the curls bounced and held for 3 to 4 days. No heat, no hairspray, no split ends. Setting lotion now costs $6 to $14 a bottle. Its primary active ingredient is a polymer that mimics what sugar does naturally. It stiffens on the strand and holds the shape. The polymer was invented in a lab. The sugar was already in the cupboard. Number 12. Castor oil for edges, lashes, and brows. Women applied cold-pressed castor oil nightly to the hairline, the eyelashes, and the eyebrows. A glass bottle of Palma Christi castor oil, thick as warm honey and pale gold. 20 cents at the colored pharmacy. Dipped on the ring finger, rubbed in tiny circles at the temples where the hair was thinnest, dragged along the lash line with the tip of the pinky. A dot smoothed across each brow. The oil sitting heavy and warm on the skin through the night. The edges filling in by Easter, the lashes looking longer by summer. Castor oil is now marketed as a lash growth serum for $15 to $28 for a quarter ounce. It comes with a mascara-style applicator in a velvet pouch. The applicator is new. The oil is not. It was already in the medicine cabinet in 1941. It just did not have a brand name or an influencer holding it up to a ring light. Number 11. The flour sack beauty cloth. Women repurposed flour sack and feed sack cotton as washcloths, facial cloths, pressing cloths, and hair wraps. A 25-pound sack of Pillsbury or gold medal flour. The empty cloth bleached and boiled on the stove until white, torn into squares, hemmed by hand or left raw-edged. Softer than store-bought terry cloth after 3 or 4 washes. Laid across the pressing board during a hot comb session, draped over the hair after a hot oil treatment, dampened and pressed to the face after a cold cream wipe. The soft weave that never scratched the skin. Some women embroidered their initials into the corner. Nothing was waste. Not the flour sack, not the oil from last night's cornbread, not the stocking with a run in it. Everything had a second life and a third. That was not poverty thinking. That was intelligence the consumer economy has spent 80 years trying to breed out of us. Number 10. Cocoa butter. Block rubbed warm. Women purchased raw cocoa butter in solid blocks from the pharmacy or the African goods store and rubbed it directly onto their skin. Hard as a bar of soap, pale tan, and slightly grainy. Rub between both palms until the friction melted the surface. The chocolate smell filling the bathroom. Smoothed onto the elbows, the knees, the shins, the heels after a hot bath. The faint shine left on the skin that lasted into the next morning. The sheets that smelled like chocolate for days. Palmer's did not invent cocoa butter. They packaged what black women had been using in raw block form for decades before the branded tube ever appeared. The block cost $0.25. The tube costs $4. The skin cannot tell the difference. Halfway through this list, and every ingredient so far could be found within walking distance of a kitchen table. But the next 5 items are not about ingredients at all. They are about hands. Number 9. The kitchen beautician. Unlicensed women ran full-service beauty operations out of their kitchens and front rooms. They served the whole neighborhood on a sliding scale. Miss Odessa's kitchen on a Saturday morning. 3 folding chairs against the wall. A pressing comb and a Marcel iron heating side by side on the front burner. A hand-lettered card taped to the refrigerator. Press and curl, $1.50. Children, $1. A radio playing the Jubilee Gospel Hour through the window screen. Women arriving at 7:30 and not leaving until noon. Each one pressed, curled, oiled, and sent home looking like she stepped out of an ebony advertisement. The kitchen beautician held no license, no certificate, no lease. She held something better. She held the trust of every woman on the block. She was the one who did not repeat what she heard while the comb was heating. She took payments in installments. She did hair for the funeral when the family could not pay at all. No franchise model can replicate what she built. because what she offered was not a service. It was a covenant. Number 8. The stocking cap press and set. Women cut a leg from a worn nylon stocking and used it as a hair setting cap. It pressed the curls flat overnight and created smooth waves and molded styles by morning. A sheer nylon stocking. The leg cut just above the knee with kitchen scissors, stretched over the head and knotted at the crown. The nylon pressed the pin curls flat against the skull through the night. The slight indentation marks at the hairline by morning faded within the hour. The waves underneath, smooth, defined, holding for days without another touch. Nobody bought a wave cap. Nobody ordered one from a catalog. The stocking had a run in it, so it became a beauty tool. That was the logic of the decade. Nothing was disposable because nothing could afford to be. And because nothing was disposable, everything was resourceful. Every item on this list so far shares one thing the modern beauty industry cannot sell and does not want you to notice. Time, stillness, hands that knew what they were doing because they had done it 1,000 times before. A daughter sitting on a kitchen chair, a mother parting the hair one section at a time. These rituals were not efficient. They were not designed to be. They were the architecture of closeness, built into the weekly rhythm so that love had somewhere to live. The global self-care market is now worth over $450 billion. None of it contains what those hands contained. Number 7. Bergamot pressing oil. Women applied bergamot-scented pressing oil to the hair before and after the hot comb press. It protected the strand, added sheen, and kept the heat from doing damage. Posner's bergamot in the small amber glass bottle with the black cap. 35 cents. A few drops poured into the palm, rubbed between the hands until warm, smoothed through each section before the pressing comb made contact. The bergamot citrus smell rising with the heat, the faint sizzle of oil meeting brass teeth, steam curling up from the strand. The hair left glossy and swinging, smelling like the inside of a church hat on Easter morning. Heat protectant sprays now cost $12 to $25. They come in 10-ounce aerosol cans with clinical language on the label. The function is identical to what a 35-cent bottle of bergamot oil did in 1946. The chemistry was never the mystery. The women already knew. Number 6. Beet juice and berry stain for lips and cheeks. Women stained their lips and cheeks with the juice of boiled beets or crushed berries when commercial cosmetics were too expensive or simply not available. A single beet boiled soft. The juice saved in a teacup. A fingertip dipped and pressed against the lower lip. Then the upper lip. Then the cheekbones in small circles blended outward with the pad of the thumb. The color was a deep rose. Not red, not pink. Natural, undeniable. It lasted through lunch. It tasted like the earth. In summer, wild blackberries crushed in a rag produced a darker stain, almost burgundy. One handful of berries. One face. No mirror required. This was not a hack. This was not a DIY trend filmed for views. This was a woman making herself beautiful from what the yard and the garden gave her. Before the factory, before the counter girl, before the influencer, there was a woman with beet juice on her fingertip. And she was already ahead of every single one of them. Number 5. The Saturday night bath ritual. The weekly full-body beauty ritual that turned Saturday night into a production line for Sunday morning. The galvanized tub pulled to the center of the kitchen if there was no bathroom. Water heated in pots on the stove. A bar of octagon soap or homemade lye soap. The full body scrub with a rough cloth. Skin rinsed and patted dry. Cocoa butter or Vaseline rubbed in from the neck down while the skin was still warm. Hair washed, oiled, pressed, curled, and wrapped. Nails filed with an emery board. Elbows and heels buffed with a pumice stone. The whole process taking 2 hours or more. By the time it was done, that woman was ready for a pew, a photograph, and anything else the world might throw at her come morning. In 1947, it was a galvanized tub, a bar of soap, and 2 hours on a Saturday night with the radio playing low. Nobody monetized it. Nobody hashtagged it. It was simply what a woman did to honor her own body at the end of a week that had given her very little reason to. Number 4. Dixie Peach Pomade. The single most recognized hair product in Black American households from the mid-1930s through the 1970s. The flat, round tin with the peach on the label, 25 to 35 cents, depending on the size. Dense and golden brown, like warm caramel. The sweet petroleum peach smell that announced itself the second the lid came off. A fingertip scraped across the surface, rubbed between the palms until warm, smoothed from root to tip on freshly pressed hair. The sheen it gave under the sanctuary lights on Sunday morning, the faint grease ring left on the doily where her head rested on the sofa after church. Dixie Peach was not a luxury. It was a household constant, like salt or soap. Every black child in America between 1940 and 1970 could identify that smell with their eyes closed. You could walk into a kitchen in a city you had never visited. And if Dixie Peach was open on the counter, you knew you were in someone's home. Not a house, a home. Number 3, the Marcel iron heated on the stove burner. A heavy brass curling iron with no cord, no plug, no temperature dial. Laid across the blue ring of the gas burner, or set into the embers of a wood stove. Tested on a scrap of brown paper bag. If the paper scorched dark, too hot. Wait, test again. When the paper turned faint gold, the iron was ready. Clamped around a section of freshly pressed hair, rolled in one slow, continuous turn from root to tip. The steam rising from the oil on the strand. A perfect barrel curl falling heavy and glossy onto the shoulder. The smell of bergamot and warm brass filling the kitchen air. A $300 ceramic curling wand with a digital temperature readout is doing what this $4 iron and a torn paper bag did in 1948. The paper bag was the thermometer. The woman's wrist was the timer. The skill was the technology. And the technology has never been improved upon, only electrified. There is a word the modern world has lost, and these women lived inside of every single day. Competence, not confidence, competence. The difference is that confidence is a feeling. Competence is a fact. These women did not feel beautiful. They made themselves beautiful, with their own hands, from whatever they could reach. And the result was not a look. It was a standard, one that required no approval, no algorithm, and no permission from anyone who was not already sitting in that kitchen. Number 2, pin curls set by hand every single night. Women set their entire head in pin curls every night before bed, using nothing but water, sugar, bobby pins, and their own 2 hands. DeLong bobby pins from the 5 and dime. 10 cents a card. Hair dampened with a spray bottle of sugar water. Each section wound tight around the index and middle fingers. Coiled flat against the scalp, crossed with 2 pins, section after section. 40 to 50 curls across the whole head. A satin scarf tied over the top. Every single night. In the morning, the pins came out one by one, the clink of metal dropping into the glass dish on the vanity. Each curl springing open, full, defined. Lasting 3 to 4 days without heat, without product, without electricity. This took 30 minutes a night. Every night. It was not glamour. It was discipline. The kind that does not announce itself. The kind that just shows up on Sunday morning looking like it happened without any effort at all. Because the woman who did it would never let you see the work. That was the whole point. The beauty was supposed to look easy. The effort was supposed to be invisible. And it was. Number 1. The Saturday morning hot comb press. The pressing comb. Heavy brass with a wooden handle and close-set teeth, laid across the front burner on a low blue flame. The smell of Posner's bergamot oil warming in the kitchen air. A mother's hand testing the heat on a scrap of brown paper bag, looking for the faint gold mark that said the temperature was right. A daughter sitting on the kitchen chair between her mother's knees. Bare neck, shoulders draped with a flour sack cloth. The comb drawn slow and steady from root to tip, the soft sizzle of oil meeting heat, steam rising from the strand like morning fog. The ear folded down gently with a fingertip as the comb passed the temple, the nape of the neck, the kitchen they called it. The hardest part, the part that required the most trust. One section at a time. The whole head taking 45 minutes or an hour, depending on the thickness. Every black woman over 55 remembers the press. The heat near the ear, the hand on the forehead holding the skin taut, the absolute stillness it required. It was not just a hairstyle. It was an act of faith between a mother and a daughter. Repeated every Saturday morning for the better part of a century. The flat iron did not replace it. Nothing replaced it. Because it was never about the hair. It was about whose hands held the comb, and the fact that she never once burned you. And somewhere right now, a daughter is sitting between her mother's knees. The comb is heating on the burner. The oil is warming on the back of her neck. And without a single word being spoken, everything worth knowing is being passed down again. And if you want more forgotten wisdom from the generations who came before us, the next video is waiting for you right now.